It goes without saying, cloud's really created a systematic shift in how government agencies are both acquiring and using IT, not just from an acquisition and a technical perspective. What we're seeing is that they're having to look at IT from a different lens than they previously have had to before. You talk about cloud migration, the thing that happens from a modernization perspective is applications and networks have to be modernized first before they can be moved and workloads can be moved into the cloud. What that's really doing is it's giving government agencies the ability to look at everything that they have from an IT perspective and start thinking about things from a different angle. We're seeing a lot more requirements move to an as-a-service model, not just at the cloud level, but all the way down to the desktop, printer, and phone level. That's really healthy for the government market. They're now attempting to acquire IT in the same capacity that commercial and corporate entities are. I think that's really beneficial for the IT market. There's still some challenges that we face there in the fact that acquisition and finance hasn't necessarily caught up and giving the abilities for the IT users to procure IT modernization assets in the way that they should. I think the biggest challenge that we see is where do you start? As you're building your IT modernization roadmap, it's really important to understand where you're starting from and where you have to get to. One of the challenges that we see that I alluded to earlier is that finance and acquisitions aren't always a part of the conversation. It's really important as IT leaders are looking at their modernization roadmap that they've got support from finance and acquisition. So when it gets to the point of procurement, they haven't created a roadblock from an acquisition perspective. They don't have the correct contract vehicle or policies in place to acquire the type of IT that the IT leaders need. We're seeing consolidation in the private sector, in Fed IT specifically, at a pace and rate we've never seen before. The acquisition that's going on around the Beltway today is extremely healthy for the market, but it's also creating a vacuum. The larges are consolidating amongst themselves and also acquiring a lot of the mid-tier players. We're really seeing a void in the market from a mid-tier integrator perspective. The government is being forced to move requirements around to compete them amongst the largest of the large or the smallest of the smalls. I think it's a bit unhealthy in the fact that there's a underserved market from a mid-tier perspective. They're missing innovation from the mid-tier providers. What you traditionally get from the mid-tier providers is mature companies who have strong financial backgrounds and really good capability. And I think that capability and that financial strength is now being wrapped up into the larges. The larges have the capability to provide it, but from an innovation perspective, I think you miss that in the mid-tier market. There's a couple projects we're currently working on today, some specifically in the DoD space around securing cyber weapons. Other projects we're working on in the civilian market are looking at IT modernization from a network perspective for some major civilian agencies. I think it's really exciting when you start looking at modernization and how you can move the needle from bringing them out of legacy environments and legacy systems into new modern applications. We're having a lot of success in talking to customers around what does that roadmap look like to bring them into the future. What we're seeing is the legacy IT infrastructure from a government perspective has been very stovepiped. The systems have been stovepiped, they've been put in silos. You're being forced from a modernization perspective to break those silos down. As you're looking at technologies such as AI or big data analytics, you can't look at those in a siloed fashion. So government agencies are having to figure out how to break down those walls, elevate them up to an enterprise level, and they're going to be more effectively able to integrate those technologies such as AI or blockchain or big data. We talk about opportunity in the marketplace from a consolidation. We're going to continue to look at acquisition targets to grow our capability. As we grow that capability, we're going to do it both inorganically and organically. As we continue to move up the stack to be a service provider, we really want to make sure that our capabilities are built to serve the market as it moves into the future and as modernization continues.